Alright guys, Capsidal again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Shotzzy has responded to some of the major drama over the last couple of days of Black Ops 7 on the horizon. There's been some big debate as to what that game's going to look like, and Shotzzy gives a rather different opinion to what he expects many of his other pros, especially Scrappy, would give on this matter at the moment. Lots of other drama on the day as well, including Methods versus ACHES. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. We think HyDra is coming back in Black Ops 7, so bon voyage to the boys on Miami Heretics. Now, let's talk about that as well, because BO7, BO2 maps are coming back. According to Ghost of Hope, it will have as much support post-launch as Modern Warfare 3 did. So MW3 was actually phenomenal, at least as far as the CDL era goes, for that post, at least map set support. The fact that we had Rio come into the map pool, the fact that we had Vista come into the map pool, and what was the other one? How could I forget? Six Star coming into the map pool. Right, that was excellent for the state of play. Now, Sledgehammer designed those maps, and they did so based on inspiration from some of the classic Treyarch maps in Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, games such as that. Treyarch nowadays do not appear to be the Treyarch that they once were. And frankly, I would trust Sledgehammer right now to make better post-launch content than I would for Treyarch, because we've seen what Treyarch cooked up in Black Ops 6, and it wasn't especially pretty. But having said that, BO7 should be in a much better spot, because we are going to get at least some Black Ops 2 maps at launch. That gives us, bare minimum, we have Raid. So at least we can play Raid for all the game modes. At least we know that we can play Express for Search and Destroy, right? So we've got some sort of a base to come through. And then, obviously, there'll be other maps that start out the game, maybe other remasters, some other titles. That could be kind of exciting. The fact that they brought Hacienda back in Black Ops 6, and we got nothing else, no Arsenal, no Frequency, no Gridlock, right? None of those maps. That would be nice to see, and I think likely we will get something like this. They will make their own new maps, and hopefully they're good and better than Protocol, for example. But hopefully we also get some of the old school maps as well. I know that there's always a debate on this, whether we should remaster the maps, whether we shouldn't. You know, do we want to be seeing the same maps again and again and again? Look, maybe not forever. I understand that having Raid every single COD game played every single year for every mode might get a bit tiresome to people, and I understand that. For example, in Counter-Strike, they've got like 7 maps or whatever, and you see 3 of them played in a series. But, you know, I've been watching Mirage. Like, I've not watched Counter-Strike for that long, but I've watched it for like nearly a decade, and I've been watching Mirage the whole of that decade, right? And it's still great. Now, it's more complex, the CS maps, than we have in Call of Duty, so there's some debate on it. And I always think we should have new maps coming into the game, but we've got so many maps in COD, like so many amazing maps over so many years of COD history, that having some of them get played every year would not be a bad idea, in my opinion. Like, imagine we brought 6 Star back, just for example. Is anyone going to complain about that? I highly doubt it. So, GAs, the state of the game, what the pros are going to do about it. Because as of the last couple of years, the pros have effectively decided the map set, right? They pretty much choose what they do. This year, the CDL changed tack, and they told the pros what they were going to play. And the pros weren't always happy about it, but they got on with it, and they sucked it up, and they dealt with it. That's how most esports do it. So Zuma was talking about the GAs, especially because our sniper's going to be back in. What about smokes? What about the specialists that may arrive into the game as well? Are the pros just going to ban them and cry like they normally do? Now, Zoom wasn't happy about this. Puckett says, something has got to be done. These young'uns are scared to play the game. At Spinner Spence, of course, like League Operations guy at the League, please don't let them lower the skill ceiling even further. And there were quite a few replies to this. Ben J, as always, was in this debate because he loves talking about GAs. The easiest solution is to create a competition committee that will replace GAs with temporary and permanent restrictions. Only problem is when I tried to explore this last December, I was told the players will not attend the meetings. So, pretty funny couple of tweets in the replies here, but yeah, that's what Ben J says. And I think Ben is on the money. When it comes to these kind of like actual logistical things, people clown Ben for his opinions. But when it comes to like the business side and the logistical side of making things work, Ben often talks more sense than most. And he's talking about having like a competition committee where there would be, let's say, a couple of current players, some former players, and then maybe some people from the league or a caster or something that would together decide what what happens. And his idea is that if something is potentially concerning, they could add it to like a temporary restriction list or something, and then it would either become permanent or not, depending on what the decision is in due course. Now, apparently the players just don't want to do this because, you know, understandably, the players have effectively held the power and called the shots at this point for a very long time. When they first started to introduce GAs, basically a decade or so ago, GAs started to become a thing, and then over the last few years, they very much accelerated in terms of the players being like, oh, I don't like this gun, don't like that thing, you know, let's get it out, let's get it gone. Who cares what the fans or the owners or the league thinks? We can probably get away with this, so that's what we're going to do. And if they're obviously suggested with the idea that they might not have such power anymore to decide exactly the type of game that they're going to play, then they don't attend the meetings. So that's what BenJ says. Now, easyMac was talking about it as well. I thought easyMac's opinion actually was quite interesting because he was debating it with Denza about, let's say, the smokes. Because if the smoke is busted, as in it's got a one-way problem, and you just throw it at your feet, you run around and it's a nightmare, the pros will ban that, right? And they're probably right to want to ban that. Fair enough. But easymac's opinion is that for the start of the game, it should be mandatory that they use it anyway, because let's say you remove the smoke, it's broken, you remove it, you don't play with it. You think the devs are going to care about fixing it? No, because it's like, well, the pros aren't using it, they're not going to use it, they're not going to bring it back in anyway. This is always the classic thing with GAs, that they ban a weapon, that weapon gets nerfed, and then do they bring it back in? No. Like, this is always a thing, that the GAs never get reversed. So easymac's opinion is like, look, if there's something broken, we should use it for at least a few weeks, especially if the game has just come out into stage 1 qualifiers or something, and then the devs can fix it. And if they don't fix it, then we ban it, right? Okay, fair enough. So I think that's the debate. It was kind of an opinion I hadn't really heard before. Thought that was kind of interesting. Nadeshot reckons that we shouldn't bring Uplink back. We should instead bring back Blitz. Now, Blitz, legendary game mode from Ghosts. Nadeshot was arguably the greatest Blitz player of all time. If you guys aren't familiar with that game mode in Ghosts, each team had a portal in their base. If you run into the portal, you scored a point and you teleported back to your own base. Legendary game mode. Nadeshot was unbelievable at like sneaking captures in. It was good times for sure. Now, bit of drama going down last night. This is one of the pieces. Octane was talking about me being banned at Search and Destroy, him not thinking basically that was a bit overgassed, and there was a bit of a debate here between JCap and Octane, and these are, I think, the numbers from World War II. The FG42 was in hand at the start of that game, and Octane, look, great numbers that season. Does it make Octane a great Search and Destroy player over his career? Look, he was definitely more of a respawn player than a Search and Destroy player, but, you know, if you cherry pick the numbers, you can make a debate about it. There was also this, and maybe slightly less cherry picked, between ACHES and Methods. So, look, Methods retired when he was still very much a competent player, and he retired for a good reason. Stepped away from Boston, became the King's right-hand man, and I'm sure it's all worked out rather well. There was a debate on retired player tier lists, and they were looking through the COD Wikipedias and stuff like this to see what was going on. And Methods, well, his one got brought up. They were looking at his seasons, and a lot of Methods seasons weren't great. World War II was an excellent season for him, as we know. Unfortunately for him, he got dropped for Slasher, despite winning CDL Atlanta and actually getting the MVP. But ACHES has a few words to say on that, so I'll share that clip for you guys in a second when we talk about what Shotzzy has to say. Zinni in the replies, though, says, I've never claimed to have an insane career. I'm no idiot. The only hill I'll die on is that if I wasn't underage or didn't slack off and take a break because of it, it'd be a different story. Finally put my head on straight in World War II and played pretty well after that. So, you know, I think that's probably fair. Now, look, and every player's going to gas up their own career in a couple of drinks. It's only natural, and I think it's only fair. Is it? I don't know. I think ACHES' perspective is pretty funny, really. But I do think Zinni sometimes gets clowned on a little bit more than he deserves. Let's talk about Shotzzy. He reveals there's something big coming soon. Now, he talks about it in the context of this post, because Taylor Miller says, no team changes this year, but next year, stay tuned, we could have some new organizations. Now, I don't think Shotzzy's referring to that. I think he's referring to the team outfits here, right? So the actual in-game skins for purchase. It seems that OpTic have had their skin approved. I don't know. That's my read on what Shotzzy's saying here, is that whatever OpTic have cooked up next year for their in-game skin, whether maybe all of the teams this applies to and they're allowed more freedom, or whether OpTic, because now, you know, back-to-back world champions, EWC winners, whatever, like whether they've got something really special on the horizon, that could be pretty exciting to see as well.
Say that you got the same career. Wait, where is he?
Like near Cheen on the listen see. That's what I think.
My Zinni and Chino had the same career. They both were good at like one game, and then the rest of the games they were like,
hold on.
in the mix sometimes.
How did Zin have such a bad BO4?
He got dropped by attach.
Because he got ripped off the heady.
And then he had to remember
that 1v1.
Slowest players.
Yeah, that 1v1.
Medals.
That 1v1
the whole year.
Wait, no. Listen, Vanguard Zin was like good individually, but like look at the year, like.
Bro, I love Zin, but wow, he talks like his God Wiki don't look like this.
I mean, listen, Zin's one of the players. He's kind of like Gunjar. He has a lot of what ifs on his career.
Yo, I can't say what I want to say, but like, bro, the shit that we got approved on for next year, when it comes down to like this shit, it's gonna be lit, bro. I think like I'm actually hyped as fuck for it, bro. I'm not even trolling. It's actually lit as fuck. You guys will actually fuck with it. Like, this is just my take. And I don't know if you guys agree. There's gonna be a lot of pros that disagree with my shit. But I don't give a fuck. I truly think Specialist is good for our esport because, like, yes, don't get it twisted. It's cheesy. Bro, there's so many things that are cheesy, bro. The op in fucking CSGO, the most cheesiest fucking shit. Fucking... What else? Valorant, you have Jet Dad, whatever the fuck, right? Obviously, that's a different esport, whatever. But, bro, I feel like our esport needs that, bro. And, bro, it brings new people in, dude. That's what people are understanding. I swear that shit will bring new people in. Because, like, I feel like new people that come into COD, like, they watch COD and they're just, like, probably dopeless. Whereas if they see Specialists and shit, they're probably like, oh my god. You know what I'm saying?
This is one of the reasons why I have lots of respect and lots of time for Shotzzy, because his opinions on controversial topics like this are very often based around what is actually best for the scene. A lot of the players, and I understand why lots of the players feel this way, it's all about me, right? It's all about me, my team, my own, let's say, performances and keeping my spot and all this. And I totally understand that. Shotzzy doesn't have to worry about his spot, so I get it. But also, many pro players are like, well, Specialists, Gravity Slam, it's cheese, right? It's all cheese. The Vision Pulse, it's cheese. And yeah, part of it is cheesy, right? For sure. There's an argument there. There's plenty of other cheesy things that are in the game over the last few years. I mean, look, this is a legendary moment in COD history, this Karma slam on the Arsenal control. And look, they knew he had the slam. Could they have split up and not run in at the same time in the same place? Yeah, there are ways to counter it. You can't counter the grab slam, really. But what I'm saying is, each team has a grab slam. They can only use it once. So there is inevitably a skill gap in terms of how well each team utilizes the specialists they have on offer. I also think that it provides, as Shotzzy implies, a far more interesting angle to actually watch the game. It's no longer just spawn in, run at the hill, die, get a kill, spawn in again, right? Like, it's now, okay, they've got this maybe to use to break the hill. Is he going to use the war machine to break P3 or is he not? It engages your brain as a viewer far more than if there's no specialists. I think people look back at the specialist era and the jetpack era and also BO4 with fondness because of the specialists, certainly not in spite of them. And Shotzzy's opinion is that it's actually great for new fans to see that in the scene. And yeah, maybe the players and Scrappy isn't going to be happy about it. Scrap's pretty against these coming back, and I understand it, right? Scrap never played in that era, and even if he did, maybe he'd feel the same way. But that's why I respect Shotzzy's takes a lot, because he tends to put the state of COD at the forefront. Because Shotzzy also knows that some of the players further down the league that are going to be crying about this and trying to GA things, they're actually, in the longer term, having a negative consequence on themselves, because if Shotzzy's right that the scene would suffer from not, let's say, allowing the specialist and GAing them when they are in the game, then those players that want to do so are inherently having a negative consequence on their own career, because COD might grow, their salary might grow, they might stay in the league for longer as a result. So that's my opinion on it. That's Shotzzy's take. I think it's all rather interesting. Very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.